Kody, I'm not surprised to see a man who got into the end zone for the first time in his BYU career show up with some extra swagger today, rocking a Michael Jackson t-shirt of all things. Talk to me about the fashion choice today, man. Why'd you opt for the Michael Jackson t-shirt?
So I just woke up, got ready for class, got ready for breakfast first, and then got ready for class. This is kind of just the normal drip. We have a BYU TikTok that talks about who's the best dressers on the team. I mean, this is normal. So if you guys really wanted me to dress out, it'll get pretty nice. So, but yeah, this is just one of my class tees. Just rock on campus.
Hey, I respect it. 1988 Michael Jackson classic era. Okay, you say there's a TikTok account and maybe like a competition brewing about who has the most drip. Who else is involved in this, Kody?
It's the BYU media team. They do like the TikToks of like they ask us questions of who the best dressers are, and it's a couple of dudes like Cade Moore, I think was a high name, Ben Bywater, some other dudes, but I think I got it.
You're holding the #1 power ranking in that regard this week?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so with that in mind, now with the power rankings for drip discussed and off the table, I do want to ask you, after a weekend like that, where there's some clear frustration and you got to go back and you look at film and you see 41-20 loss to Oregon, how do you turn the page on that? How do you do that as an individual where you're like, okay, I've turned the page, I'm ready to go, we've learned what we needed to learn. What do you do?
So, like you said, from an individual perspective, personally, I love to just dive into the film instantly off of what I could have done better. I look at all the small things, my depth on my routes, where I lined up, how my blocking was, how I performed on special teams. I like to look at all those things so I'm prepared when Monday meetings come around and I'm not like thrown off and caught off guard with coaching points and some constructive criticism on what I could have done better. So yeah, that's the #1 thing. I just love to dive into it. And then, with those things, our motto is love and learning, so when we watch that stuff, we look at it with care. We look at it with the perspective of this is a journey. We have a long season and we're football players. We're humans. We go to class, we do all these things. We play football, obviously. So there's always going to be growth. There's always going to be progression to getting better, to attain the stuff that we need to know. And I think the biggest thing for me is just looking at how I can grow and not harping on the things that I didn't do well or good enough. I want to grow. So this week of practice, I want to really emphasize going into Wyoming, a good team we're about to face. I want to emphasize the things that I didn't put well on film and the things I think I could do better.
What are some of those areas specifically that you individually want to work on?
So one of the things that everybody got to see is it was a pass that I dropped in the back of the end zone that I really wanted to make that catch to put my team in a spot where we could still have a make an impact so we could still come back before we went into the half. Little things like that, like when my name is called, when Jaren throws the ball my way, if it's a block, to block for the running backs, to block for one of the receivers, to block for Jaren if he scrambles out of the pocket, I want to make a big block like that. Special teams, I could do better on special teams on some of the blocks that I had. So those are a few things that are on top of my mind that I want to definitely put a lot of work into this week.
As far as an offense goes, what are you hearing from your quarterback, Jaren Hall, and from your offensive coordinator, Aaron Roderick, about where BYU needs to be better as an offensive unit moving forward?
So instantly after the game, of course, Coach A-Rod came on the bus and just gave us a talk that we don't want to start pointing fingers and all that type of stuff. We just want to watch the film, come together as a group so we, like I said, so we can grow, so we can look at what we can do better collectively as a group and then individually as well, because when you do right individually on the field, it adds to the collective effort and it adds to the collective I guess the wins on each and every single down. And then Jaren, like I said, I talked about him in another interview last week. The dude is so mature. Like after a game, a lot of quarterbacks that are highly touted, supposed to be going to the NFL, his draft stock could go down after a game like that or whatever the case may be. He isn't thinking about any of that stuff. He instantly came to me and just said, man, you had a great game. Way to make those catches that I threw to you. And he's thinking about how we can grow, watching film, all those little fine details that are going to help our team win. So I really appreciate that about him. And yeah, that was kind of what I got from him, is just what we can do better.
Kody Epps is with us on BYU Sports Nation. I know this is difficult to answer because, I mean, you lost 41-20, but how does a loss like that, the way that BYU lost, help you and motivate you pushing forward?
I think the best thing is that it's going to leave a bitter taste in our mouth. So next game, we want to come out and we want to really nail all the things that we didn't do well. We want to push hard and get all those things good on film, and we want to do it for each other, and we want to do it for our fans, because that's another thing. When you lose like that, fans may or may not believe in you anymore and all that type of stuff. But with our fans, we want to make sure that we got you guys, and we want to keep getting big wins and all that type of stuff. So that's the biggest thing.
The media still believes in you, Kody, because they still have BYU ranked number 19 in the national polls. Mm-hmm. That's a credit to BYU beating Baylor and handling USF in spite of the loss against Oregon. So at this point in your mind, what does the validation of still being a top 20 team even after a loss like that mean?
I think the biggest thing is that we played a great opponent. Like, Oregon is a great team, man. They lost the week 1 to Georgia, but they're still a great opponent. Like, they gave us our best. And like I said, when we come out to games and like Wyoming, these teams are going to give us our best because we're in that top 25, because we play hard and we play with love and we play with care and respect and integrity. So I think essentially, like, we're going to be playing against good teams, and we played against a good team. So I feel like being in that still top 25, that kind of proves that we're a great team, and we lost to a great team as well. So
how much does home field matter now that you've experienced a game at USF in a stadium that was half empty, and then a raucous crowd in Provo against Baylor, and you saw what that did for BYU in double overtime, and then you go and play in one of the toughest venues to play in all of America, where Oregon has now won 21 straight games after beating BYU? How much does home field matter?
When we're at home, it definitely helps, from the sense of, like, when other teams are trying to get a snap count, sometimes it can affect them, affect their timing of when the ball is snapped and them getting false start penalties. But I don't know if we necessarily felt that we were out of place being at their home stadium and that it affected us really that much. I feel like it was more internal stuff that kind of affected us. So I guess in a sense, like, that venue is great to play at, and it's a hard place to play at, but I don't feel like it affected me or the team as much as a lot of people would have expected it to.
BYU, for whatever reason, the last 4 losses that the Cougars have suffered in the program under Kalani Sitake, all those games have happened in the afternoon. And maybe that's just a coincidence, Kody, but is there something that you feel like maybe you could do differently or change up to try and get that swagger that you have at night going into the afternoon?
I don't know, man. I think it's all the same. Like, when you play in the morning, when you play at night, we're all getting ready to go to war. We're all getting ready to go to battle. So I don't think it's really different morning and night. I think the stats probably say it is, but I don't know. I feel like morning and night games are essentially the same. We go out to play football. So I don't know if we should make any changes or anything like that.
You get Wyoming in the evening at LaVell Edwards Stadium. The Cowboys just coming off, and rightfully in their minds, a big win against a pretty good Air Force team. What do you know about Wyoming at this point, and what's the game plan for the Cowboys?
Well, yeah, I know that they're going to be a good team that plays pretty tough. I was recruited by Coach Bowl, and he was a pretty cool guy, and he definitely emphasized playing tough and playing hard. So that's what I think we're going to get from them from the first quarter to the fourth.
What's the key to overcoming physicality from a team like Wyoming, that are going to come out and really try and establish some of that physical front and essentially kind of punch you in the mouth early?
We just have to match it. We just have to come out, play fast and physical as well. We know that they're going to bring that. So I think we have to up the intensity with ourselves too, so that we're matching it and we're bringing some more too.
Walk me through the rest of your week as far as like film study and practice goes. What's the schedule like for you guys on offense and the wide receiver room specifically?
So this season, we've definitely, from my perspective, we definitely have harped on film study a lot more. So we have everything kind of mapped out Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday on how much film we should be watching, what we should be looking for. So from the film aspect, we're going to be watching a lot of film, diving into a lot of the stuff and the tendencies that they do and how they change their defense for us. And then I think practice same thing. Practice is going to be normal. It's going to be the same week as we prepared last week. It'll probably be more intense just because we're coming off of a loss, and typically you want to up the intensity when you don't perform like you want to the week before.
And then what kind of a difference will having Puka Nacua and Gunnar Romney on the field make for the wide receivers?
They add so much value to us as a group with their leadership, with their ball skills. They know how to play in big games like this, like rivalries. So they're going to add so much, and they're definitely going to help us in return.
But do those guys have as much drip as you, Kody?
No, I think Puka knows that he doesn't have drip. I think he admits it, and then Gunnar, I think, says that I probably have the most drip on the team. So yeah, they know. They know.
Right on, man. Hey, let's give you some BYU Sports Nation karma to go out and play well against Wyoming. We appreciate your time and hanging out with us on the show. And again, you're number one in the drip rankings. Congratulations on your first touchdown. We look forward to more greatness on and off the field.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.